Welcome to this week's Race Room. Coming up on today's show, we've got all the latest from the very controversial Monaco Grand Prix at the weekend, and we want to know if you're Team Nico or Team Lewis. Right, we start with the news and the very controversial Monaco Grand Prix at the weekend. So what do we take away? I've narrowed it down to 5 top facts. First things first, Nico Rosberg winning the race. Very controversial, as I said. His 2nd consecutive win in Monaco. That's one more than his dad now. You see him spraying the champagne there very, very enthusiastically, beating his teammate Lewis Hamilton to the top step of the podium. And if you can spot who's missing from this team photo, why not comment below and tell us who you think's missing? Yes, beating Lewis Hamilton to first place. So let us know what you think about that. What else did we learn? We learned that Daniel Ricciardo is better than Sebastian Vettel. Okay, well, Vettel has 4 world championships to his name, but Daniel Ricciardo, his 2nd podium position. Of course, we don't count Australia because he was disqualified. So he's 3rd place. He's now ahead of Vettel in the Drivers' Championship as well. 9 points ahead. He's in 4th place, whereas Vettel is in 6th. So interesting to see that the 4-time world champion just can't seem to get the same out of the RB10. And Ricciardo just seeming a very, very strong driver at the moment. One to watch, definitely. What else did we learn? We learned that Marussia are definitely better than Caterham. Jules Bianchi scoring the team's first points. 2 points, to be precise. What a weekend for him, and being congratulated by the likes of Fernando Alonso with a tweet saying "Boomba." I mean, I love that. That was awesome. And yes, some of the mechanics enthusiastically celebrating there. A little bit of an awkward photo. But yeah, as I said, Caterham and Marussia have been battling to see who would score that first point. Both teams entered in 2010, Caterham as Lotus Racing and Marussia as Virgin Racing. But it is now official. We can crown Caterham as the worst team in F1, or at least in F1 at the moment. So unfortunately, that's how it fell this weekend, Marussia taking the first points. We also learned that Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton are no longer mates. There we see Nico Rosberg doing a kind of shoulder check to Lewis Hamilton. I mentioned it was controversial. We'll talk more about that later in the show. But yes, Nico Rosberg not really knowing what to do, looking a bit like, huh, who, me? Could I cause a yellow flag? No way. And Lewis Hamilton, yeah, just not having a great time of it at the moment. He's lost that championship lead. Nico Rosberg now leads the championship by 4 points. And I think we're going to just see this going on, the lead changing between these 2 Mercedes drivers. So an incredible race in Monaco. F1 is exciting, even though it was looking a little bit like a train, a bit like a procession with the Mercedes boys up front. There is this team battle going on, which I think is just going to keep the sport alive and create more and more interest. So, Monaco Grand Prix wrapped up for you in 5 facts. And from one street circuit to the next, we're still partnering with the Singapore Grand Prix. Less than 4 months to go now until that awesome night race. Make sure you log on and get your tickets. Go to their website. And we want you to keep an eye on the channel, because from after Canada, we'll be letting you know what you can win. There's going to be some exclusive merchandise that you can win. That's up for grabs. And from after the Austrian Grand Prix, Mark Priestley, aka F1 Elvis, will be here to talk you through all the Singapore Grand Prix that have been. 6 of them that we can talk you through. So from Austria onwards, make sure you watch the channel, because we'll have in-depth analysis of those Grand Prix. And of course, just make sure you get your tickets, because you just wouldn't want to miss out. Okay, so as I mentioned at the top of the show, we want to know if you are Team Nico or Team Lewis. If you missed qualifying on Saturday, A, where were you? But B, I thought I'd give you a quick rundown of what happened. So Nico Rosberg was on provisional pole. He'd set a time 0.059 of a second quicker than Lewis Hamilton. He was going for his last flying lap. He was ahead of Lewis Hamilton on the track. He'd had a great first run through. Going through Massenet Casino, lost a bit of time because he went offline. So when he was going down towards Mirabeau, he locked up and had to run off into the escape road, causing a yellow flag and meaning that Lewis Hamilton had to abandon his flying lap. Now, it would appear that Lewis was on track for pole. He said it himself after qualifying that he was on the pole lap. He'd gone fastest in the first sector, which hadn't been his strongest. The middle sector was where he was stronger. So all things looked like Lewis would have been on pole. Unfortunately though, the yellow flags were brought out, which meant the session wasn't allowed to continue, and it meant that Lewis lost the chance to take pole over Nico Rosberg. Now, a little point worth mentioning, a lot of people saying that pole is absolutely fundamental if you want to win Monaco. Not so, I tell you. 28 pole sitters have gone on to win the race out of 61 races. So by my maths, that's less than half. So actually pole isn't that important. You can get past, even though of course overtaking is so tricky on the narrow and twisty street circuit. So we've come into the studio today and we want to hear, what do you think? Are you Team Nico or Team Lewis? We opened it up on Facebook and we've had lots of great comments. Thank you very much for getting involved. If you missed the Facebook debate, why not comment below and tell us what you think? We asked Eric Nilsson Amott. He says Team Nico for sure with a smiley face. Carl Watts thinks Lewis though. And a lot of people talking about the behaviour of the two guys, saying that Nico wants more success than Lewis. He's hungrier for the win. But then Tanya Bonetskaya says Lewis needs to grow up. He can't win every race, no matter how bad he wants to. Then we've got Jordan Stanhope Dean saying he's a huge Lewis fan, but how he handled things over the weekend was just unacceptable. What did you think? Was he being childish? Russell Line says he's on Team Lewis, but that Nico beat him psychologically this weekend. Of course, it's all about mind games with these F1 drivers. You know, Lewis now feels that Nico's capable of doing these things, and actually Lewis kind of needed that excuse maybe to think, well, what would have been, maybe he would have been on pole if Nico hadn't done this. It all adds to that mental game. We've got Simon Nathan saying that he's behaving like a spoiled kid, and then Sean Facey saying that Lewis is getting too big for his boots recently. Now that's an interesting one. Lewis has always been quite chilled, you know, he's always kind of got God on his side and he always is quite calm in the paddock, but saying he's getting too big for his boots, not sure about that one. And then Simon Law just says that Lewis is a better driver than Nico and will fight back in Montreal. Well, that will definitely be the case. Both of these guys want to win. I don't agree. I think both of them are as hungry for the win. I do think it was a little bit controversial on Saturday. I'm still undecided as to whether Nico caused it on purpose. There was a lot of proactive action going on that steering wheel. I do think Nico is capable of it intellectually, but as Martin Brundle says, he doesn't think it's in the boy. So what do you think? Are you Team Nico or Team Lewis? Do you think it was intentional or just by mistake? Why not comment below and we'll get back to you and we'll reply to you on the thread. So do it now. Right, time for What the Camera's Seen. Now, we weren't in Monaco, sadly, but I was at the Chelsea Flower Show and I spotted this amaryllis, beautiful colour, and it was called Monte Carlo, so that was about as close to the Monaco Grand Prix action as I was going to get, so I took a beautiful photo of that. Hope you like it. And second, we've got me, rather large, zoomed up selfie there, wearing headphones in the office, along with a couple of my colleagues. We had a terrible fire alarm here on Thursday, and the only way to get through it was to put on ear defenders that we usually use in the F1 paddock. So again, trying to get into the spirit of things when we weren't in Monaco. Send us your pictures and we'll include them in Camera's Seen next week. And now time for Tweets of the Week. What have we got lined up today? Marussia F1 team, we use every bit of available space here, packing things in around the trees. Henry's favourite race, this one. Oh my goodness, yes, look, you can see little Henry, the Hoover. My goodness, yeah, not much space in Monaco. It's all so jam-packed in. I remember last year I was running up and down escalators within buildings. You think you can get through this way. Not much space for the teams either. It's all separated. You have the paddock in one area, you have the garages in another, so you can't have, the drivers kind of have to go all the way through some stands and round about the houses. So yeah, trying to make space is pretty difficult. So Henry's done well to find a little spot. Next tweet. My goodness me. Now, you know I don't pick the tweets, so I can't even look at this. This is horrendous. Pastor Maldonado, and I came in like a wrecking ball. Well, yes, I mean, that is the perfect song for Pastor Maldonado. I know it's nothing to joke about, sometimes I just can't help but laugh out loud. Yes, okay. Well, not laugh out loud, but you know what I meant to say. This is a lovely picture. Not sure it's my favourite. It definitely won't be going on my wall anytime soon, but perhaps if you're a Pastor Maldonado fan, I know there are a lot of you out there, you might like it. Next tweet, please. Okay, oh yes, I love this one from Lotus F1 team. Look, can you see the partridge? Yes, this is a picture of their trucks and asking if you can see their friendly partridge. Don't really want to think about the metaphor. This is turning into a rude tweets of the week. Next tweet, please. What a handsome bunch. Yes, this is the Amber Lounge fashion show where some of the drivers strut their stuff in front of the good and great of F1. We've got Max Chilton, Esteban Gutierrez, Daniel Kvyat, we've got Marcus Ericsson, Adrian Suttel, Ricardo even, wow, and Jeff, very nice. Natalie Pinkham tweeting that. I'm sure she was looking beautiful at the fashion show as always. And the next tweet, wowza, this is pretty special, look at that. Amazing wigs there from Kevin and Jensen. Jensen's really pulling the old model shot. Interesting, not sure I would suggest keeping that look, but hashtag Wig Wednesday, didn't know that existed, but maybe from now on we should do that. And let's have another one. This is our last tweet of the day. Red Bull Motorsports tweeting that on this day in 1951, Sir Stirling Moss made his Formula One debut. What a picture, that is just the best one of Sir Stirling Moss. Remember, if you haven't seen my in-depth interview with Sir Stirling, check that out on the channel. Definitely worth a watch, and have a look at his amazing house with all those mod cons. And that's your tweets. Right, so coming up this weekend, it's the MotoGP race out in Mugello. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Marc Marquez says that he thinks it could be the moment that his winning streak is ended by Valentino Rossi. It's going to be Rossi's home race in front of the home crowd. Of course, he won every single race in Mugello from 2002 to 2008. It's a strong track for him, and it's a strong track for Yamaha. Jorge Lorenzo winning there the last 3 years. So we know the M1 is very, very strong around the track. Is it strong enough though to topple Marc Marquez off the leaderboard? I don't think so. He's got an incredible lead on the rest of the pack at the moment, but we will be watching that very, very closely, so keep an eye on the channel. We'll have lots of updates for you, and we'll be back next week.
Measuring the airflow behind the front wheels. And what they're doing is measuring how that airflow comes off, and as we run it forward, we'll see there it comes out of this system of pipework and into what's called an